Ready? All right, call this meeting of the Flat Rock-Hawcreek School Board to order at 7 p.m. First thing up on the docket is the oath of office.
Jay, have you stand up, raise your right hand, and just repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jay Phelps,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of Flat Rock-Hawcreek School Corporation,
of Flat Rock-Hawcreek School Corporation,
Flat Rock District,
Flat Rock District,
Bartholomew County, Indiana,
Bartholomew County, Indiana,
according to the law
according to law
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome aboard officially. Next up is approval of the minutes from the February 3rd, 2026 meeting.
Move to approve the minutes for February 3rd as presented.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Brings us to item number 5, public comment. Mr. Elliott, you are the only one here, so you have the floor.
Yeah, I have a question on the agenda tonight on adding lights to the tennis court area. I was looking for, one, what's the purpose of them? And then, two, kind of, getting a little more clarification on something we talked about previously on the fence, because the town, in that order on the fence part, the town does not seem to agree with what you had presented, last time, because they did not act like, because I just left there talking about this, that you were gonna block off the sidewalk. The other question to that is, you told me last time that there was construction equipment out there, and after the snow melts, there's no construction equipment out there, and that the grading's done, so is it just, I'm just looking for the transparency here. We don't plan on plowing that thing, and it's shut off, and we're just putting the fence up so we can charge $5 for people to get into the tennis match? Or, and we kinda just led the town on to what's going on, or somebody's either not telling the truth or did not understand what was going on, whether that's on their side, whether that's on your side, and they just told me 30 minutes ago about their side, and I'm curious to hear what your side is on how it was all handled on that, because the sides aren't matching up, and, you know, like I said, if it's just because, if the transparency is, hey, we're just putting the fence up so we can get money off of people coming in, I understand that, but, you know, on the vice versa, is if you're gonna do that, then we should just not even done this additional sidewalk, because it's not helping anybody on the part of the town, on the part of you, because now you got more stuff to plow, supposedly. So, or if you guys want to comment, I'd like to hear a little.
I'll comment.
Yeah.
So what we do is not gonna be perfect here, right?
What?
What we do here is not always gonna be perfect, right?
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just,
So
like I said, there's two different things.
how much do we get from the town?
I believe it was about $14,500.
How much did we spend on that project in the tennis
The
courts and
total
everything surrounding?
the total project will be $1.2 million.
We don't need it $14,000, just to be frank, right? If we wanna put that, we could have done it. We're trying to make things better. It's not complete. Probably not ready to open it up for travel. Do we intend to? I think so. Is it gonna be lots of times to gather, $5, as you said, for somebody to show up to the tennis practice or tennis, match? Yeah, I think so. That's put it our intent, to be able to maintain traffic. It's not the $5, right? I mean, the athletic department's gonna be grateful to get the $5. But we're trying to make things better here. And so I would be, you're here to talk, and I appreciate that, because not many people show up to talk.
Yeah.
But I think we can all come at this at a positive way to help the students, which is what we're trying to do. And so when you come in time after time and say, kind of in a bad way, what are you guys really trying to do? We're trying to help the students.
It's not in a bad way at all, because
Okay.
I told the town, I just told the town, and you can go back and watch it. I just told them that. I said the idea was great. it's just transparency, because from the town's point of view, you know, they wanted people to be able to use that sidewalk, no matter what time of day. From your guys' point of view, you want to be able to pin them in there. I have no problem with that. I'm not saying that, hey, charging $5, I understand, tennis balls, whatever, it gets expensive, and you're trying to do the best. I'm not saying that it looks bad.
Well, I'm not trying to escalate it, I'm just saying,
No,
we're trying to do the right thing, we talked
you're
about.
not even listening to what I'm having to
I
say.
am listening.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I can add some clarification on the process. So the town manager and I met multiple times even before this started. I think I expressed to you last time, we had been meeting on other sidewalk projects that we were hopefully working with the USDA on. The out front and on State Road 9 is desperate need of some widening and renovation on that sidewalk. So while this wasn't maybe our first choice, this was something we thought we could work with the town together on. And by the time the tennis project came into full scope and we saw what that was going to be, we were already pouring concrete out there for our spectator area. And what ended up, the $14,000, what that paid for was the additional pieces to extend it out to the road. And so we used what we were already paying for in pouring, and we extended that to have a walkway for students. And so when we talk about access, the intent is, and what's been clarified through Jason, the town manager, and myself, and our conversations was that students would be able to access that. Even during a tennis match, if we close the gates so that we can charge parents coming in, students would be allowed to go through. That those gates wouldn't have hard locks on them, that students walking home from a basketball practice would be able to use that as a safe way. Now, will they, or will they walk out around? Maybe, we don't know yet until we can see how this all works out. And I will say, another part of this conversation was other options. If we didn't like the fact that that was going to be inside the fences, we could do another sidewalk on the south side of the trees. Now that would come at about $40,000 to $50,000 additional cost. And when that was brought up, I think they wanted to try this first, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So the town has worked very well with us as far as being open about their wants and wishes. They've been out there, looked at the site. I know they weren't thrilled about the idea of a fence, but we said that was part of our project originally, that we wanted that fenced. So that the fence is on us, and if people don't like that, we're okay with that. So I just want you to be aware that plenty of conversations have been had, that Jason and I have worked very closely to make sure we understood what the money was going to, and we appreciate the town's effort in that. But as Mr. Rose said before, it wasn't going to make or break our project. We needed to make sure the tennis courts were finished the way they needed to be. So as far as the plowing, we do intend to keep those sidewalks open even when there's snow, but we do not have that site open and ready. And my comment last time about the equipment was, we don't know if there's fencing laying there, we don't know if there's equipment out there, we don't know the status because it has not been, we've not done the punch list or the final checks, and all those processes have to be done before we say, yes, students, you can use this, you can walk through here. We have to take all those precautions. And that will not happen until the courts are opened here in the spring.
And I can tell you, there was pieces of pipe fence laying out there before the snow hit, because I drove by Friday and saw it before the snow and saw them there. So yeah, there was stuff there that would have gotten plowed and damaged. And to be honest with you, until it can be guaranteed that it's safely open, I'm not super comfortable with kids out there. So,
Why aren't we letting them walk across there?
because there's only so much we can do. We can't stop them.
You can't block it off. There's, caution tape says don't go. I mean, I run a construction company, I know.
And they're gonna go right under it and go on about life. That's what they're gonna do. They're kids. I mean, that's just how I look at it. As far as the lighting,
I don't get the negative feedback that you guys don't want people down here, you know, or we want people down here, but then it's like, well, I'm making a statement just because I'm asking why on both parts, because they are telling you something completely different down there.
and I don't know what the town's telling.
And I'm not saying that you are lying about anything. I'm saying what their story is, because they came up to me with acting like all upset about what's going on down here. But did they ever reach out on that? No, I feel like I'm the one reaching out on it, because if you ask my opinion, I'd have put it down Hauser Drive and never went over there.
So,
I mean,
I want to bring this up, Sean. Do you have a problem with calling Jason tomorrow and seeing if we can iron out what the issue is, have an open discussion? If Doc can't make it, I can at some point in time, maybe sit down and talk. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
That's fine. Again, I think we're already down the road. We've already done the project, and again, in my opinion, it's a good project. If they want to make a modification or do something differently, they need to come to us, because it is our property, and at this point,
I mean,
we plan to do what we told them we would, and that was to have access for students.
I mean,
And I'd be surprised if Jason was upset about it, that he wouldn't come.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got my cell phone number.
I work with him, and I would think he would have said something, because I've not heard anything from him. I don't know if you've heard anything from him.
No.
So if there was a big complaint, I'm surprised that he wouldn't have.
The last time we had a conversation was in December, and they were just glad to have the project finished, and we could get the final payments made and all that before the end of the calendar year. So, from our perspective, I appreciate what you're bringing to us, but from our perspective, unless Jason or someone from the town council wants to reach out, we feel like that it's been a successful project, and we intend to move forward the way that we've set forth.
well, and I see it as our intent, and this is just me saying, our intent is that yes, the sidewalk will be open for kids to come and go from school. That's the whole point behind it. And that when there's an event out there, yeah, we do want to control a little bit of traffic that comes in and out. Not just for the $5 or $6 gate fee, but also because safety issues of, there are chances where you have children that have parents that are divorced that aren't supposed to be around each other, and it's a good way to contain that. It's a good way to keep things from escalating as far as people maneuvering in and out. But to me, the intent has always been that it's going to be there for the kids to come and go from school. I mean, I think that's what everybody pretty much believes. As far as the lights are concerned, the way I saw it was that was basically safety lighting, right? That's not tennis court lights. That's not big, giant
I can talk
lights.
about that now, or do you want to wait till the approval? Because we still haven't talked about that on the approval. But
That's
we can-
up to whether or not he wants to know now or if he has anything else. I mean,
that's kind of.
Well, I just want to clarify for the record, public comment is a time for the public to come speak. It's not always a back and forth. This is something we have limited public here tonight, so we are able to answer questions. Most of the time, we would say, if you need answers immediately, that the board may ask me to take that over and have a meeting separately. I just want to say, if we had a lot of comments here, or a lot of public here, we wouldn't be able to answer each individual question.
Yep.
So I just want to clarify that. But with this conversation on lighting, so this is not tennis court lighting. There was power out there. We had lights out there in the past. We had removed those. So this is a number. The electricians are going to reinstall the meter and the power box that was out there and had to be removed for the project. And then the lighting is actually on adding lights to the parking lot. And so they're going to be on, I don't know if they'll be inside the fence or just outside the fence, but they will illuminate. We're hoping it'll illuminate the sidewalk walking up, as well as more lighting for the parking that will be there. So it's not actually on the tennis courts. We've not had that for many years, and we weren't going to spend the money to put them on every court. And then we all are also looking at lighting along the backside, the sidewalk you're talking about with the fencing, that would just be fence cap lighting, just to give it a little bit of illumination on that south side under the trees, since we are having students walk under there, to make it a little bit more lit up. That's not part of this. This would be a separate agenda item, so this one is for actual parking type of lighting, post lights, and reinstalling the power to the spot out there.
In the parking lot or on the tennis court?
There,
Like on the fencing on the tennis court? Or
so there's a perimeter fence that is close to the parking lots. It would be in that vicinity so that it's out towards the lots. It would not be, the intent is not to shine lights out on the tennis courts. It's to illuminate the parking for safe travel.
Is that, you feel more comfortable with that answer?
Yeah, like I said, I know you don't want to go back and forth, but this is a pretty big project, and like what they said, they've been working on 2 years. They kind of worked on this for 2 years with you guys. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But in 2 years, on approaching like $1.3 million project, because you're adding the fencing, we're You're probably, if you
Well,
pass
just-
tonight, you're gonna
Just to
have-
clarify, the tennis courts are not the town's project. The only part that we've been working on for 2 years are sidewalks.
I know.
And
I know,
so,
but they were part of it. You guys took the money, so they became part of the project. And like I said, if it was like, if you guys had been talking for 2 years on the sidewalks, then I just don't understand how a better design where you could have both, not blocking that. Because like I said, and I stated this before, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. When you have 6-foot fencing around there, I think you're gonna deter people from walking back over in there. You told me on a $1.2 million project, is $14,000 anything? No. So then, you did accept it, so you drugged it in as part of the project. If I accepted it, you wanted to tell them to shove it, that's one thing.
I've been involved in some of the conversations, so just so you know, the issue about talking about sidewalks was not just this sidewalk. There was sidewalks on the other side of the school towards, I think, going towards the community center, there was conversations. So the conversation about this sidewalk right here has not been on for 2 years. It was just recently, as a result of this project, I think, is the reason why that conversation even started.
things are already mobilized. We have the product here. It can easily be added.
And said, hey, can we piggyback on this to get a sidewalk out to the road that they thought was needed? But that didn't even come up until this actual tennis court project was actually started. The other conversations for 2 years were sidewalks, other places that they were trying.
Even much longer than 2 years. We've talked about sidewalks for.
Oh, quite a while.
Well, 2013, we had safe routes to schools.
Years at least,
There
right?
could be sidewalks all the way from here to the community center at some, there's always been discussions for that. Obviously, that hasn't come to fruition yet.
And I'm not knocking that, I stated that tonight, I was like I said, I would have much rather seen is, if the state's gonna come in, do the sidewalks in the front, I'd have much rather seen us do the sidewalk down Hauser Drive and then down the back to South Street. There's quite a bit of difference. My concern is, they're presenting it as they wanted it for everybody. You guys are more focused on students because that's what you're focused on. The communication just seems off to me. That's more what I'm getting at. It's not sitting here, just to come and criticize. And I know the last couple times I've been in here, it's been about criticizing, but it's not criticizing. It's more just getting transparency of what we're doing here.
And I wasn't trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to escalate it. I'm happy you're here. I wish more people would show up, give us feedback. But at the end of the day, like I said, we had a plan project. It's not gonna be perfect. So we're gonna have, and if down the road we have to do something different, we have to do something different. I mean, we're not opposed to making things better.
Thank you for your comments. We've got them in the notes here, so we'll try to move the meeting on. Pat?
We don't have anything else for public comment. That takes us to item number 6, personnel. Mr. Price.
All right, we have several personnel listed up on the board and in your packet, volunteers for this year. I'm recommending that we approve these volunteers as presented.
I'll make a motion, we approve the slate of volunteers as presented.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right, next up, we have Hauser Athletic Director Kyle Ships recommending the following coaches for the 26-27 school year. We have Jenna O'Neill for junior high volleyball head coach and Ellie Trotter, varsity volleyball assistant coach. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve these coaches as presented.
Is that junior high or JV?
Oh, I'm sorry, JV. I misread that.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion, gentlemen?
So moved. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, Principal Chris Fortune's asking for approval to post for an opening for a junior high social studies maternity leave that will run the end of April through the end of the 25-26 school year. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve this junior high social studies maternity leave to begin end of April and run to the end of the year as presented.
I'll make a motion that we post for a temporary junior high social studies teacher for the maternity leave.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the personnel report.
All right, that brings us to the superintendent's report. Mr. Price.
Okay, first up, we have that recommendation from Mr. Royer to hire TNT Electric to install the service and lights at the tennis courts at a cost of $17,525. The details are in your packet, and as I mentioned before, the intent is not to have lights on the tennis courts, but shining from the fenced area into the parking and sidewalk areas. And I don't know the exact location of those, but again, it's not for tennis play to have those lights on. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve this at $17,525 for TNT Electric.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Did we have that bid out?
So TNT, this was an extension of earlier work that they'd been doing, so I don't know if I have all the details in the packet of the other companies we've been using, but they've come in lower on everything that they've brought us. So they've kind of been the ones we've had ongoing, and wanted to keep that consistency. So that was our reason for that selection. And once we break away from this particular project in this bond, we would go back to calling in all three for that. But they're the ones that removed the service at the beginning, so most electricians don't want to come finish somebody else's work.
As long as you're fine with it, I don't.
It's an extension of the.
Okay. So we should be good. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right, and then Athletic Director Kyle Shipp is asking for approval for the Hauser boys soccer team to have an electronic discount card fundraiser running from March 23rd to the 30th of April. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve this fundraiser selling a discount fundraiser card.
Make a motion to approve, electronic discount card fundraiser as presented.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This isn't where we get bombarded with text messages, right?
I think this is, well, I'm not sure how they reach out, but I do know that these are physical, they're cards that you will
Okay.
receive through an email. So you may get emails, but it's not the mass email, they sit in the gym and everybody gives all their emails out. That's not the way this one works.
I just wondered. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Brings us to other business. Apparently, we've got some dates that may need to change for
Yeah,
March.
so looking at our normal first and third Tuesdays in March, we have the 3rd and the 17th. Well, the 3rd is the boys sectional week, if I'm correct, Missy. That's so likely to have a conflict on there with boys playing in sectional. And then the 17th is on our spring break. So it would be wise for us to maybe look at the 10th and 24th. And my recommendation would be to say, let's go with the 10th. And then usually in March, it's a little lighter, and we'll have the 24th if needed. And we'll look at our agenda items after spring break, and if we don't have a heavy agenda, we might be able to push those out till April the 7th. So I think the recommendation I'd like to make is that we move our school board meeting to March the 10th with the second one to be determined.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Okay. And that is all the other business I have.
I just wanted to bring up, with the endowment scholarship fund, Hawk-Hawcreek Flat Rock Area Endowment Scholarship Fund, that did close the end of January, and we had a record number of, I believe it was 46 total applicants between high school and post-high. The bulk being high school, obviously, about 70% or so, but that is a record number, and due to the fact that we've got a little bit more funds and been able to do some things, we're gonna be handing out roughly $21,000 in scholarships. So that's a good thing to hear, so.
Okay, that's awesome. Love it.
It was 45. I'm sorry, I thought it was 46. I'll change since I got updated. I couldn't remember, I knew I was close. So, other than that, that's all I've got. Good news, I think. And obviously, the endowment grant cycle is still open. Be sure to be passing the word around the building till April 10th. Okay. Anything else for other business? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.